Mini bands are a great way to help develop the glute muscles, in particular the glute medius. Now the glute medius is muscle just at the side of the hip, which can be quite underactive because the TFL and different muscles in the hip and the adductors are quite tight. So the glute medius gets a little bit neglected when it's really important for hip extension and rotation during a punch. And also it's important in improving hip stability and injury prevention as well, in particular in the lower back, in the hips and the knees as well. So we use mini bands mainly with two exercises: side clams and crab walks. And these are the exercises that I'm going to introduce now. These are really isolated exercises that can really focus on firing up the glute med. However, I still see a lot of people doing it wrong, either in the gym or on social media, when it's a really simple exercise to try and help activate the glute med. So I've got Jordan Gill doing some side clams. He's doing it right here. But what I can see a lot of people doing is not being able to keep the hip stable. That rotation of the hip, the external rotation of the hip, is just activating TFL and not really working the glute med as much. So if you see your athlete doing this, what I want you to do is just get behind them, making sure they're not rotating anywhere with the back or in the hips, and just make sure that it's just the knee that's moving out. To help try and get more activation through the glute med, I'd say not go full range of motion. Just get go between 20 and 80% of the movement up and down, and that's really working the glute med right there. Also crab walks, so having the band around your knee again, now you're going to be walking and extending your leg to the side. Jordan's doing it really well here. You can have his toes pointed forward a little bit more. Concern is how he extends his leg. This is a common fault. What I see, athletes push out with their feet, and this causes a knee valgus. This isn't doing anything for the glutes. So, you know, a lot of people are wasting the time doing these exercises but not thinking the little specific things to get the most out there. So instead of pushing out with feet, I encourage our boxers to push out with the knees. This means that their adductors aren't switched on, they're loose, and we're getting more out of the glute med. So if you're a keen boxing science follower, you'll already know that we use the mini bands during shadow boxing action. A really good way to fire up the glutes in a boxing specific. There's only so much that we can do in improving glute strength if they don't know how to transfer it into their boxing punch. So it's a great way to transition the strength that they're getting from their key compound lifts to punching action. Mini bands are also a great way to taper down for a fight. You know, we're adding slight overload to boxing specific action. They're fast, they're explosive, the hips feel great once we take the bands off. And we also use it for warming up. Now we use a slightly lighter band so we're not fatiguing the glutes too much. And this is a great way to get all them lower body muscles fired up before they go and hit the pads. You can see Callum here is being nice explosive. The bands aren't restricting his movement that much, just adding that slight overload so when he's on the pads he's ready to go and he can get fired up, ready for competition. Not only does it have great benefits physically, it also has great benefits technically too. When working with Callum Bearder during his rehab, when he had shoulder injuries, he was having some problems with his hip. Now doing loads of things in the gym for him, but I wanted to see what were happening boxing wise. In this footage here we do banded shadow box, we do shadow box normal. As you can see just on this still here, look at the knee valgus on the left hand side, yeah, in his right leg. This is what's causing his hip pain. He's not really getting much rotation from his hips, not much glute activation. Everything's coming from his adductors and his hamstrings. Put the bands on, his knee stays out and he's getting much more from his hips. So we started using mini bands from this moment, you know, as a warm-up tool, and this has helped Callum, get better rotation from his hips in his punches, but also it's helped him, it's helped eliminate them hip injuries for him.